the debt ceiling. We've all heard these two words mentioned on CNBC and CNN, but they're usually jargled in with a bunch of nonsense and political science terms that you probably don't know what they mean. And they do it for a very important reason, as they really don't want you to know what's going on. Now, I'm going to show you if we take the US economy and we remove off a bunch of zeros and we actually compare it to a household budget, you're going to be blown away at how absolutely financially irresponsible the US is. Now, what you got to think about is the debt ceiling. That is the amount of debt that the US can have, basically money that we pay out and money that we spend that we don't have and we simply borrow from ourselves. So let's make it simple. As you can see, we have the US tax revenue. This is how much money the US brings in to our economy by taxing individuals to pay for what we spend. Then below that, we have our Fed budget. This is the budget that we as the US spend every single year. Now we see new debt. What that means is how much money do we borrow because we're not bringing in enough money to pay for our budget. Then below that, we're going to see our national debt. This is the amount of debt we as the United States owe. Basically, money on our credit cards that exceed the amount we have in our bank account to pay them off. And lastly, we see how much money we've cut off of our budget. Now, if we look at these numbers, as you're going to see here in slide number 1, you really can't get a real good understanding because the numbers are just so long. So let's do a little trick. Let's chop off 8 of the zeros and break this down to if you and your family were the United States and had the same spending problem that the United States government does. Now, we've removed 8 zeros off of the United States family budget plan, and we put it in terms that you can understand. So you and your family earn an income of $21,700 a year. You guys spend, because you guys have a spending problem, $38,200 per year. That means you gotta go ahead and you gotta put on your credit cards the $16,500, which is the difference between how much money you bring in the door and how much money you spend on all the things that are your budget that you need. Now, that $16,500 you put on your credit cards this year get added to the balance that is already on your credit cards from all the other years that you haven't been able to earn enough money to pay for your living expenses. And now your credit card debt is $142,710. So think about that. You earn $21,000 a year and you have a total credit card balance of $142,000. 7 times. So you have a credit card that is 7 times the amount of income you earn every year as a family. So you have a conversation with yourself. Hey, we really need to fix our spending. We're going to start slashing our budget, just like our good friends on Capitol Hill are doing, right? So we sit down, we review our budget that we're spending $38,200 on, and after spending days fasting and praying and trying to figure out what we could do to cut our budget, we come up with the miraculous plan that is going to cut $38.20 off of our budget. Well, if that sounds outrageous to you, that is exactly what is happening right now with the US government. Those dollars and those proportions of our spending compared to our income, compared to our budget cut, are exactly the exact ratios of what is occurring right now. Isn't it amazing what happens when you cut 8 zeros off? Why has nobody on CNN or CNBC explained it like I explained it? Do you know why? Because they don't want to. Because it'll absolutely send Americans into a panic and get really mad. This is not a Democrat problem. This is not a Republican problem. Both parties have overspent for decades. This is an absolute problem from the powers that be that run our country. They do not know how to control their spending, and they simply cannot fix it any other way. So they're looking to raise the debt ceiling, aka raise the limits on your credit cards. So you as a family member, are you thinking that the way you're going to fix your problems is not by cutting more off your budget than $38, but rather going to your creditors and saying, hey, I know we owe $142,000 on our credit card bills. Will you please raise our credit to a $200,000 limit? Because that's exactly what raising the debt ceiling is. Or let's just put it in better terms. Imagine that your house has a sewer leak in it, and you have the sewer just pumping nothing but crap and piss into your house. And you come home and you realize, oh my gosh, my entire inside of my house is completely filled to the ceilings with poop and pee. Whatever am I gonna do? Do you think to yourself, maybe I should just raise the ceilings up and just keep the piss and the poop where they're at? Or maybe do you think about going ahead and actually opening up the door and getting rid of all the poop and pee? Well, I'll let you be the judge of that one. We know what America thinks.